And this is Boom Bust, broadcasting around the globe, covering the world of business and finance and the impact on us all. I'm Ben Swan.
And I'm Christy I in Washington. Here's a look at what's on deck today. Incredible numbers as global debt has risen to $250 trillion. And there are two countries responsible for more than half of the increase over the past 10 years. We'll break it down. Plus, tech companies want to be more than just social media and search engines. They want to provide checking accounts, credit cards, and payment services. Are these companies trying to gain too much access?
And we begin with what you might call a race to the bottom, as the U.S. and China have led the way to surge in global debt of over $250 trillion. That's trillion with a T dollars. When we talk about numbers that high, it's hard to even fathom. But just in the first part of this year, $7.5 trillion was added to global debt. Again, just the first half of this year. And the U.S. and China responsible for 60% of that. The entire rest of the world, more than 140 other countries, are responsible for only 40%. Well, now this is government and private debt. In fact, according to the Institute of International Finance, over the past decade, global debt has ballooned by more than $70 trillion, which again has been driven by both governments and corporations. So, Christy, let's break this down here, because when we're talking about a global debt that is really equivalent to 320%, again, these numbers are so hard to even fathom. 320% of global gross domestic product. How is that sustainable on any level?
It's not sustainable, and that's why this rising debt level that has absolutely no signs of slowing down has been flagged by economists as one of the biggest risks for the economy and probably the next breaking point. And right now, as you point out, this is a combination of both government debt, public debt, as well as private debt. And the private debt is even more concerning, even though government debt gets the most attention.
Even as the president is weighing what he would try doing if the U.S. economy slows down, there are stunning new figures about how the federal deficit is growing worse than projected. The news came yesterday from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. In fact, as a share of the total economy, the deficit is now reaching its highest levels since the end of World War II. Lisa Desjardins takes a closer look at what's behind the jump and how the debt could limit some of the choices in the event of a future downturn.
That's right, Judy. The deficit is now expected to close in on $1 trillion this year and then stay over $1 trillion for every year on the horizon. All told, the CBO says due to recent changes in policy and the economy, deficits over the next decade will be $800 billion higher than it projected just a few months ago. Those changes include a trio of debt pushers. The bipartisan budget deal is raising spending. The Republican tax cuts are lowering revenue, and the economy overall is slowing down. Let's break this down with Maya McGinnis of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. Maya, thank you for joining us. I just want to depict to people the long-term issue here. Let's look at what the deficits are projected to be now for the next few years. Look at that. 1 trillion, 1 trillion, 1 trillion, as far as the eye can see, 1 trillion and above deficits. And let's look at how this relates to GDP and the curve historically. You can see that high peak there is World War II, and we now see that we are on a path to near those levels that we were hitting in World War II. I think the biggest question to you, Maya, you've said, and CBO has said, this level of debt is unsustainable. But what does that really mean to the average American? What will happen if we do keep on this trajectory?
So it might be one of the most single important stories ignored by U.S. media. The BRICS alliance and the efforts by 5 nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to cut the U.S. dollar out of nation-to-nation trading. Thursday, the BRICS summit wrapped up in Brazil, and some of what those leaders of those 5 nations had to say is pretty telling.
I would suggest to increase the participation of where credit is offered in local currency. I believe that it would reduce costs and risks and would strengthen our currencies.
I suggest we create a program so that in our next summit we can reach the goal of $500 million of commerce intra-BRICS.
We made a commitment that the bank should benefit not only BRICS member countries, but should also be able to extend its horizons to other emerging markets and developing countries like our own countries.
Well, BRICS leaders also discussed creating a digital currency or even a cryptocurrency, which could be used to get around the SWIFT banking system, a U.S.-dominated system for transferring money internationally. BRICS leaders also discussed creating a digital currency or even a cryptocurrency, which could be used to get around the SWIFT banking system, a U.S.-dominated system for transferring money internationally.
You can start building completely new concepts for payments that we've never thought of before.
And then new technologies on
and
the back
then new
of that.
technologies on that. Now, what happens when you combine? Here's another interesting one. Bitcoin is the first financial system in history that doesn't require personhood for ownership of money. Every single financial system we have, at the end of the day, money is owned by either a person or a collection of people as a corporation. That is a fundamental truth. It's required by the legal system. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can be software and you can own money. Software can own money. Let me say that again. Software can own money. We don't know what that does, but let me give you just one example. Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those 3 together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that management. Now, that is a completely bizarre construct. It's one we can't even imagine at the moment. It violates several of the assumptions we make as a society about liability and legal responsibility. As long as it doesn't crash, actually, it does some really interesting things. It's a really damn good taxi in many ways. But that's just one example, and that's not something we have today, only slightly different plus Bitcoin. That's something that is impossible today. And you start opening up these branches of innovation and exploration in science that simply have no precedent. And that's where it really gets interesting. So on a 10 to 20-year horizon, you can't make any predictions anymore because there's no precedent to what you're doing. Just like in '92, you can't predict Facebook. It's impossible to predict it. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we gather online as citizens of the world to judge 2 experts in a critical debate. In this corner, the creator of centralized banking. Make some noise for Alexander Hamilton. And in this corner, the creator of the Bitcoin, the believer in the blockchain. Give it up for Satoshi Nakamoto. Mr. Hamilton, you may begin.
Before we begin, everyone do me a favor and read a little thing I wrote called the Federalist Papers. I explain how a nation's unlikely to survive without a strong central government to keep it alive. When I launched the central bank, Jefferson called me ill. Now you have my face to thank on every $10 bill. When America was cash-strapped, I pushed past that. Now some sicko makes crypto and our nation backtracks.
Decentralized currency, yes, I invented it. I'm sure many governments wish they had prevented it. The national cash is how they keep control. But freedom to the people was my ultimate goal. Am I a pseudonym, a group of men? It doesn't even matter. I invented Bitcoin cause fiat is a disaster. A man from Japan or a damn hologram. I'm the reason open season on crypto began.
Does anybody know what this crypto thing means? To me sounds like the new get broke quick scheme. A bunch of fools from across the land investing in something they don't even understand. Buying Litecoin, Dash, Bitcoin, Dash. It's all gonna crash and be gone in a flash. All this unsupported money's an irrational prank, and I'll be laughing all the way to my national bank.
Yeah, dude, super funny. As if banks these days still help people make money. The rich get richer and we follow like we're all sheep. The banks serve Wall Street, crypto serves all streets. The interest in crypto's on rapid ascent. What's your current interest? Like 0.5%? I'm sorry, the bank's gone past its peak. But I want info encrypted, not hacked and leaked.
If this crypto system will be our salvation, it needs to be centralized, needs regulation. If our central database gets, how you say, hacked, insurance will just make a case to get your money back. Cause in fact it's tracked, and the money leaves a trail. Central currency is strong, cryptocurrency is frail. Untraceable money, wow, so clever. One typo in your address, now it's gone forever.
Crypto is frail, that's the essence of your lesson. Your money leaves a trail, yeah, a trail to a recession. A bunch of rich white guys made this system. Why would they ever change it when it made them rich men? Movie moguls fought hard against the VCR. Horse and buggy manufacturers all hated the car. So why would I take my advice from the banks? I don't need a bailout to survive. Thanks.
The system is so broken, we need that crypto token.
The system isn't broken, can we trust crypto tokens?
It's gotta be centralized,
decentralized,
centralized,
decentralized.
We need control,
free enterprise.
Bring me the facts, please testify.
Fiat's the way a government controls the populace.
Government protects its people. All of this is obvious. They keep the peace, and so they keep control. You want us ruled by crypto miners no one even knows?
Oh, it's that strong central government bit again. They protect people, but only their citizens. Crypto has no borders. It's a true global currency, and censorship resistance for those who need it urgently.
Banks earn trust by assuming liability. You know a key, we know the customer explicitly. Will the real Satoshi please stand up? Nope, you'll still be hiding when crypto busts.
You don't need to trust the people, you just need to trust the code. Every record's in the network, you're just one node. And when you find a flaw, there's a software update. Now try updating cash. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Wait, cash works, you immediately pay. Crypto's a far worse medium of exchange. Can't Bitcoin the dentist, can't Bitcoin my breakfast. Can't even use Bitcoin at Bitcoin conventions.
No currency starts with universal adoption. It takes time for places to make it an option. Plus billions of people don't have bank accounts. No savings, no interest, no checks to bounce.
You're saving the world, but what's the price you're paying? The only change you're creating is climate change. Power grids spiking all across the land. Overheated, no one needs it, hope it all gets banned.
From the king of paper currency, the hypocrisy. For bills and forms and triplicates, you're killing all the trees. Don't like my power usage? Stop targeting my rights. I own my purchase power and the market sets the price.
It's gonna get real dark if this is crypto's night. They use your currency for crimes, that's your kryptonite.
Most crime is done with Benjamins, not the blockchain. There's a reason most dollars carry traces of cocaine.
Where's your proof of work? That's pure speculation. Those darknet black markets need more regulation.
The world's full of currencies and this one makes it worse. 180 now, Bitcoin's 180 first.
It's not the currency itself, it's the method, man. You can't build things that last without a central plan.
Crypto is a balance to the centralized model, cause things fall apart, the censor cannot hodl.
If you end up having problems, I feel bad for you, son.
I've got 99 problems, but a bit ain't one.
Gone!
Hold on, we are not having a duel. That is the end of the debate. Now it's time for the people to choose who won. Let it be known in the comments below. My name is The Gift of Gab, and I am your host. Peace and love, y'all.